Right, good day everyone, and welcome to yet another edition of the program Political Clinic. Political Clinic is a program that dissects political happenings in Nigeria. And on today's edition of the program, we have Dr. Chidiogo Opala, a lecturer and development economist with the Department of Economics in Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka. Ma, you're welcome to the show. Yeah. Much later, or in a few minutes, we'll also have a, a cybersecurity professional with a strong software engineer background talking about Mr. Divine E. Eselebe, who is also a founder of CSAP Africa. He'll be joining us in a few minutes. Ma, can you hear me? And on today's edition of the program, we have Dr. Chidiogo Opala, a lecturer and development. I can't hear you properly. Can you hear me now? Department of Economics in Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka. Ma, you're welcome to the show. I think you have to unmute your audio. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. Good morning. Can you hear me now?
No, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
I can't hear you. I think you have to unmute your video.
I've unmuted myself.
I can't really hear you from here.
You can't hear me from here.
Oh. Well, let me see if it's from my end, but I can't really hear you from this end. Okay, I think it's better now. You can hear me, right?
I can hear you, but can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. Can you say something now?
Yes, good morning. Happy to be on the show this morning.
So I don't know. The video is actually coming, the audio rather is actually coming a little bit late. I don't know if it's from. Are you streaming live from your phone? Like, are you using your phone to stream live?
I'm using my laptop, but I'm using laptop.
I hear you intermittently. It comes and goes, and then it
Okay,
comes
it
very
comes up.
late.
Then maybe it's network then.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if it's better now. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. So the challenge is myself. You are not hearing me, right?
Okay. Okay, hold on a minute. Let's try to see what we can do. Just hold on a minute, man. Just hold on a minute. Or can you say something now if you can hear me?
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, okay, you can hear me properly now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
All right. I think we're having issues with the network, not really from your end also. Okay, let's start this way, ma. I believe you can hear me from that end. And good thing,
Yes.
Mr. David Ezelebe, I hope I got that name right, has joined us already. So,
Yeah, divine, divine.
yeah, good morning.
Hi, prayers, divine. Good morning. Dr. Chidogo, good to see you. Good morning. How you doing?
So, doctor, let's begin this way. If a few persons are of the view that the technical glitch that resulted in, the poor marks obtained by some admission seekers is, JAM's way of targeting candidates from the southeastern region. What is really your take on this? Let's start this way before we now, go into the whole economic reform part of it. Doctor, are you there? Hello, doctor, are you there? I think we've lost connection with our guest. But while we wait for her, let's have you react to this, Mr. Divine Ezelebe. I mean, can you help us make sense of what cybercrime is and what are some of the examples? You can hear me. Mr. Divine, can you hear me? Mr. Divine, can you hear me? While we try to establish connection with Dr. Chidiogo, can you help us make sense of what cybercrime is and what are some of the examples?
Hello, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? I switched my phone. I think this should be better.
Okay, I can hear you now. Did you
All
get
right.
my question now?
No, I did not, please.
Okay, all right. My question is, a few persons are of the view that the technical glitch that resulted in the poor marks obtained by some admission seekers is JAM's way of targeting candidates from the southeastern region. What is your take on this? Yeah, I can hear you.
For me, yes, I can hear you. Okay, for me, the news that is going around saying whether it's the Southeast is being marginalized cannot be substantiated. Why did I say that? Because as a researcher, it's until the facts are there before we can actually say that, yes, it is true. You understand? And Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Right.
Okay. So for me, I don't totally agree yet, though there are signals here and there, but it's not something we should just conclude and say, oh yes, that we are truly being marginalized. I think until we have the records, then we can, until maybe independent bodies have done their own research and gotten the results before we can conclude and say yes, that we are actually, that the Southeast is actually being marginalized. But for now, I don't think it holds water. Thank you.
Okay. You feel it's a conspiracy theory by those who feel you feel it's
Yes,
a conspiracy theory.
yes, it could
Okay.
be. It could be. Just like I said, we can't just categorically say now until it is proven. So it could be a conspiracy theory. It could also be a fact, but a fact that has not yet been discovered. So it's until we search it out and have the facts, then we can say yes, it is true. But for now, it's just news in the yes.
Okay. Let's get Mr. Divine react to this. What do you have to say about this, Mr. Divine?
Hi, Pius. Yeah. So for me, I think this is people's opinion, and then I feel those opinions were bettered by the results and Jam's behavior. For me, I wouldn't say that what they said is not the reality, but just like the doctor said, we don't have the fact, right? This is what happens, and this is what they said based on their communique. They've given the reason why that was so. But from seeing this from the cybersecurity lens, I think that for me, it's those people somehow they are not far from the truth, and I believe they have more reasons why they said that. Because now Jam said something that based on my analysis, my short analysis, I discovered that just like they said, they had about 2 clusters that were housing the whole federation, that's the whole national body. And that was Kaduna cluster and the Lagos cluster. And the Lagos cluster is housing the whole of the Southeast and few of the Lagos, right? So about the 157 centers that were affected, right, includes all the states in Southeast. The whole signal from that particular act, makes one think that, whatever people are saying, whatever the netizens are saying, they're not really far from the truth, and they have the right to say that because this is the image that you pushed out there, right? So for me, I wouldn't say outrightly that they did that intentionally, but based on the behavior and what they pushed out there, the way they reacted and responded to the whole thing here, one will think that these people are not far from the truth and they have a reason to believe whatever thing that they believed in. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Divine. I think let's try to see if we can fix the audio. I can't really hear you well. We'll try to see if we can fix the video from this end. Can you hold on a second, please? Try to see if we can. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can
Yes.
hear you.
Okay, I think it's better
Can you hear
now
me?
because it was echoing. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
All right. All right. So, like you were saying, you say those people that are of the opinion that the mass failure that, candidate from the Southeast obtained they could be probably right according to you. What is the rationale behind thinking that these people could be right, Mr. Divine?
Yeah, sure. Just like I said, Jam mentioned that they had two clusters for the whole that will manage the performance and house the whole federation for the exam based on their report. That's Kaduna cluster and Lagos cluster. I feel these clusters are supposed to handle their basic operations, right? Right, based on the exam. So I was wondering why among all the clusters, so Kaduna cluster doesn't mean that the Kaduna cluster was housing every other state. And then Lagos cluster was housing every state in Southeast, right? And then in Lagos. So if that was how they segmented these things, right? So I was just thinking, I feel they were part of, and then secondly, I also remember that based on the report that is out there, that that particular Lagos cluster, right, they were supposed to apply a patch, and this patch was as a result of whatever improvement that they want to make in the system, right? And then apply this patch in Kaduna's cluster, but obviously they forgot to apply this patch in the Lagos cluster, right? And they had to remember that this patch was not applied on the second day of the exam. I mean, these things are so glaring. I mean, it's obvious, right, that, there was a whole lot of negligence that was displayed out there, right? I was looking at a whole national body that has been conducting this exam for many years now. I mean, what was the problem? The same way I can't really see the reason why this will happen as a professional. I mean, that's the same reason why the other people, that's the netizens, will believe that this act was intentionally done because, I mean, the facts are there, the data is present there, right? Based on that behavior, you could sense that, why you can tell why these people are saying what they're saying, right? So why will you, among all the states, right? Why will it has to be Southeast that you forgot to apply the patch for better performance of your exams and all that? If you say this is innovation or whatever,
Okay,
they had to apply that. Yeah.
All right. Let me come in here. Let me come in here, Mr. Divine.
Yeah.
Mr. Divine, if you can hear me, let me come in now, please.
Pius, go ahead. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Pius. I can hear you
All
clearly.
right. So let's talk about the professional aspect. Earlier I asked what cybersecurity or even cybercrime is. Maybe you can help us make sense of that, and how does this play out when it comes to such exams of this magnitude, how does cybercrime, comes in? How do we use cybersecurity to check some of the excesses of, exams of this magnitude?
Okay, so Pius, thank you for that. I want to also use this opportunity to see how I can educate the public, right? Cybersecurity is just it's not different from security too. It's just the security as applied to cyber, which can involve computers, PCs, and the internet, right? When you talk about cybercrime is just that type of crime in a plain language that you commit using the computers or the internet, right? So cybersecurity is actually very, very important, especially to the situation that we have at hand. This particular so-called glitch, technical glitch, as they stated, from the whole analysis and report we got, it's obvious it wasn't a technical glitch, right? This was I don't want to say intentional failure, but this was a systematic failure, and that was caused by human error. So in a nutshell, this is a human error. Now, this is where cybersecurity comes in here. Now, every organization that deals with sensitive data, right, and it deals with assets, right, especially as regards computers and the internet, right, you must have a better structure or architecture to be able to protect this infrastructure, right? You need to protect this infrastructure because you are dealing with data, right? So JAM is a very big organization. It's a very big, national body, right, which also represents the image of the country, right, in the educational space. So because of the kind of data that they are handling, they need to have what we call an ISMS. An ISMS is an information security management system. This is the kind of structure or system that you create to ensure that your information is secured, right? Every organization that deals with sensitive data should have that, especially organizations of this size or magnitude, right? So this is where cybersecurity comes in, right? The integrity is one of the things that you want to protect in cybersecurity. Integrity, availability is another thing that cybersecurity tends to protect, right? So integrity of the questions, integrity of the result is very, very salient, So I think this is where JAM failed in. If they had a proper ISMS, because it's a very rigid process, right? It's a very serious, it's so demanding, but it pays, right? If they have that, I don't think this would have happened, especially with the kind of report that they put out there and the way they communicated this whole thing. It wasn't really the way it should be. It was so unprofessional from the beginning. So cybersecurity plays a very good role there because cybersecurity tends to protect confidentiality, which means what is confidential is confidential. Yeah.
I'll hold you there. I'll hold you there then. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Go ahead, Bios.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Mr. Divine, are you
Yes, I
there?
can hear you, Pius. I
Yeah,
think
let's have
we're
you react to
having
this quickly before
some
we go
latencies
back
here
to
and there.
Dr. Chidiogo briefly. Would you advocate for the inclusion of cybersecurity in the curriculum of our elementary schools? Do you think it's that important for us to have it from the elementary, levels? Briefly react to that so we get back to Dr. Chidiogo.
Okay, yes, I think it's very important. Absolutely, it's very important that that the cybersecurity is brought into the curriculum of the schools, right? Because I don't want to come from the job or career part of it. I feel the cybersecurity, because there's so much digital transformation and programs coming in Africa and Nigeria as a whole too. So, and these things are coming into secondary schools, because these guys also use devices, right? They need to be aware of all these things. You know, when we talk about, like, for instance, cyberbullying, scammers, and identity theft, you know, all those people, schools, students use mobile devices. They use the social media. You know, these are like channels, right, where whatever harm can be caused. So they need to be aware of that, because they are quite easy targets. They say that the young ones, their house or where they live currently is the social media. So they are very easy targets. And then secondly, you know, how do they know what is legit, why is surfing the net, and what is not? They need this education. They need to be educated, right? They need to know how to share sensitive information. They need all this information. Now, the point is, lastly, sometimes if you feel that they don't need those things, right, understand that threat actors can use them as a proxy to get whoever that they want to get to. They might not really be the target, but they can become a proxy to get to their parents. They can become a proxy to get to the school's management, or whoever their teacher or people connected to them. So you see, that's very important. That I am part of the people that is advocating for advancement of cybersecurity awareness in our secondary schools, because it's going to help really introducing cyber hygiene, you know, how to use strong passwords, how to spot scams, phishing links, and all that. It will help them stay protected, right? Not just them. If they are protected, their family members and everyone connected to them is protected. Yeah.
All right. Mr. Divine, I'll need you to stand by while we get back to Dr. Chidiogo to react to, a part of the interview that we, have put out to talk about. And I am talking about the Tinubu's economic reform and how far, Nigerians have fared, because, when this administration came into power, the early days of this administration, a lot of people saw the removal of subsidy and other economic reforms being, started by this administration as a reckless gamble, right? But I mean, over the weeks or even over the months, some government officials are beginning to say that, hey, the decision taken by Mr. President may be really, really hard, but then we're beginning to see those decisions bear fruit. In a recent public function, the Minister of Information stated that Tinubu's reform has started, impacted positively on the economy. Doctor, do you agree with the Honorable Minister and any other person, be the person from the government coffers or even a random Nigerian saying Tinubu's tough decisions or even tough economic reforms are beginning to yield result? As an economist, help us make sense of this.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pius. First of all, I would say that Tinubu's economic policies are actually very tough ones. Yes, because right from the time he talked about subsidy removal, everybody frowned about it and was like, why subsidy removal? Subsidy removal in itself is not a bad idea, like we've always said. But there are things that must be in place for it not to have the negative effect on the people, and particularly based on Nigeria's situation. Like the people that are saying recently that, yes, that his reforms are beginning to yield positive impact, no doubt. They are supposed to yield positive impact, but it's just like saying because something is good and then let's say it's good 5%, but the bad aspect of it is 95%. Does it not justify? Do we justify the 5% for you understand? Yes. When we look at various the cry of the people, the economic, the inflation rate, and everything, it's not just the data that they give us. When you talk to people, you discover that people are suffering. You understand? And so, yes, in paper or in words, it's paying off, but people are not yet seeing the impact. And it doesn't mean that we might not see the impact as the Minister of Information is saying. Maybe it's beginning to yield results, but very minimal, as in the suffering is more than the results. You understand? So that's what it is for now. And that's why the government should, I think the government should more of listen to the people. As you are carrying out policies are not just meant.
So do you agree that the economic reforms are yielding result? Are you saying we're having 5% improvement?
If I say 5% improvement, that's too much, but we're having improvement, but it's not the impact of that improvement, the negative impact of it. It's just like something is good, but the negative impact is also high. So there must be a balance, or some things must be set in place first before that 5% can really multiply and the effect would be felt more than it is now. I don't know if you're getting me. Yeah, Mr. Pius.
Okay, your audio actually comes late, so I'll have to listen to it before. I think it's the network or something.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, when you talk about some of these things that needs to be set in place, what do you think should have been done, especially in the aftermath of these reforms? What do you think should have been done? Because a lot of Nigerians believe that after dishing out some of these economic reforms, policies, overhaul, it looks like the government is confused. The government does not even know where to start from. Do you think there should have been something more like a damage control, if at all? The policies, caused a lot of irredeemable damages. Do you think something should have been done as a way to stem the ripple effect of these policies? Of course, they've been carried out already. What do you think should have been done to curtail or to cushion the effect of these policies, especially if you look at the realities in our market?
Yes. For me, I think particularly, let's start with the subsidy removal, for instance. They shouldn't have been too fast in removing the fuel price, that's removing the subsidy in fuel. They could have done it maybe gradually, so that people will adjust, gradually. And then it's not a one, or as in it shouldn't be consistent, because intermittently there have been adjustments in prices. People are trying to adjust, all of a sudden here another hike in price, all of a sudden here another hike in price. And so I think what government should have done is that they should have carried out these things gradually, number one. And then some of these other policies that they also bring out at the same time, because under Tinubu's regime, we've had so many other policies that have come up that has to do with, almost all the policies have to initiate a price hike. So I think what government should have done is to allow the people breathe, as in, they've carried out one that is already impacting on the prices, then they shouldn't bring up other policies that will still lead to hike in price. Rather, they should look for other places where, for instance, almost everything in Nigeria has increased price except the salary of civil servants. And how do you balance it? The prices of goods are increasing. Recently, they've even said they are going to increase the price of plate numbers and all those things. So if the price of everything is increasing and your salary is not increasing, how do you measure up? How do you measure up? So I think that's one thing the government should have maybe tried to adjust some things first. Like it was when people started clamoring that they now said, okay, let them do minimum wage adjustments. So they should have, first of all, maybe adjusted the wages of the people, brought in more facilities, maybe created more jobs, instead of making the people to even lose jobs, making the people hungrier than they were before. So government should have set some of these things in place.
And someone will tell you that Nigerians have comfortably adjusted to the realities.
It's a sad reality that Nigerians, we have this hard skin of adjustment. That's what I've discovered for Nigeria. So we adjust, but the truth is that it will get to a time, just as elasticity, a rubber that you stretch, it will get to a point where it will get to a limit where they will not be able to take it again. And at that moment, anything can happen. So truly we are adjusting, but that adjustment is beginning to get to the wrong place, because that's why you see people now do so many terrible things, because they feel that it's not their corruption is increasing by the day. Let me tell you. Why? Because people feel it's the government does not care. So let them do whatever they need to do to survive. So in that case, you see, you are trying to do one good thing, but at the other end, you are increasing corruption, you are increasing so many other bad things. So that's why I think the government should rethink about their policies. Policies might not necessarily be bad, but policies have their timing. There must be the right time, one after the other, so that we get it right.
Yeah, to the breaking point.
Yes.
Okay, for want of time, before we, get back to Mr. Divine to wrap up on, his thought on cybersecurity and some of the technical glitches we, have experienced recently with the examination body JAM. I want you to, talk to us about, what you feel that should have been done when it comes to, some of these policies. I mean, when we're talking about this economic overhaul, we're talking about subsidy, we're talking about the flotation of the naira, we're talking about the recent tax reform, issues and all. As an economist, what approach do you think Mr. President should have embarked upon? What approach do you think, in terms of all these economic reforms? Now, I want you to react to everything, right? Not just the subsidy. I'm talking about the flotation of the naira, the tax, and the telecommunication tariff and all. What do you think should have been done as a responsible government?
Just like I said, there's no one cap fits it all, because they are all different policies. You understand? But government should have been able to take it one step at a time. Government should have been able to take it one step at a time, and then ensure that before you bring up these policies, for instance, if you talk about tax reform, are people seeing the issue of, are they seeing, because where countries where people pay taxes comfortably, they see the fruits of the tax. Are people seeing the government using the money that they are collecting from them for something? They are seeing the benefit. How can you be increasing electricity tariff and still we don't have light? Or we even have light and then the bills keep increasing, skyrocketing. And, so some of these things government should have sat down. And that's why it's government. Government should have been able to even subsidize for the electricity bodies. Assuming that the electricity bodies are complaining that the discos are saying that on their own part that they are spending a lot. That's why we have government. They should have been able to say, let them help the people, so that the people are already crying too much. Let them help. Instead of them, it's just like increasing, people are crying and you're increasing their burden. No good government does that. You don't increase when your children are crying, you make them cry more. That's a wrong father. That's a wrong pattern of parenting. So as the people, unless we are saying that Tinubu government is a government that does not listen to the people, I don't know. But if it's a government that listens to the people, then as the people are reacting, they should make some adjustments here and there. Just like I said, timing is of essence in any of the policy they are carrying out. They might not be bad on the general basis, but let them take it gradually. Let people adjust. Not as we are trying to adjust, maybe because, like you said, Nigerians adjust easily. Because we are now adapting, they will now keep increasing our punishment. It shouldn't be like that. Rather, they should give the people some time, allow people. And then for me, one other thing government should do is that they should cut their own expenses. They spend a lot. They spend a lot when it comes to their executive travels and all those things. And I think that's where they can get funds from, instead of saying that they want to generate revenue by increasing tax. The tax is already high enough. So, and nobody will cancel out tax, but trying to get more money from tax for now is a no-no. Let them get money from other things, cut down on their recurrent expenditure, invest more on capital, and then let the economy adjust. Then we can now talk of increasing tax when we are seeing the result.
All right. Okay, so it's a good way to keep it there. Government should also, this has been a call by tons of Nigerians. If you're telling citizens to adjust, if you're telling citizens to, cut cost and all, you should also be seen doing that as a leader, or you should also be seen doing that as, public officials. So I think it's a good way to drop it there, Doctor. Listener, I've been speaking with Dr. Chidiogo Opala, a lecturer and development economist of the Department of Economics in Nnamdi Azikiwe University. Thank you so much, Ma, for being part of the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, we hope that when we call you next, you're going to, grace the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you so much for being part of the show. So I'll have you round off on your part, Mr. Divine. Maybe for want of time, maybe you can react to this in, say, 5 or 3 seconds. So we round off. Are you there, Mr. Divine?
Yeah, sure, Pius. So I think that
Mr. Divine,
just
are you
a
there?
few words for JAM. I think that
Okay. How
all
can
they
we
need to
leverage
do. Can you hear
on
me?
cybersecurity, or even cybersecurity to address identity theft and other sundry challenges bedeviling the Nigerian educational system, not just JAM. I'm talking about, the whole educational system entirely. You agree with me that universities, polytechnics, colleges of education, and other high, institutions are now leaning towards, technology and all. So how do we really leverage on cybersecurity to address some of the challenges that, come with completely switching from the traditional way of doing things in our educational system to what we have now?
Okay, thank you so much, Pius. I don't know if you can hear me, but I guess you can. So I think that just like every other industry, every other niche. So I'll use JAMP as a case study because of the incident that we recorded a few days ago. I think it's high time that everyone picks the lessons from what happened here. So no matter whatever you're doing, if you're dealing with sensitive data, right, you just have to ensure that you employ measures to protect that infrastructure. Now, for the educational niche, I think that it's important that we increase and create a system to increase or to advance cybersecurity awareness in your sector, right? And then as well, it's important, especially for JAM. I believe they've picked their lessons, but let me drop this to them. I think that they need to really, really, really prioritize transparency, and then really, find a way to better communicate to people, right? Every organization that handles data like that will always have what we call Security Trust Center. They don't have that in their website. That particular Security Trust Center is actually a part of the website where they can be able to communicate their data protection policies. If they have system updates, like they just had, if they had some patches or whatever, they can put it out there, let the people see them. If they have breaches or somehow, they let it put it there. You know, organizations like that should have that. Then they should be able to create a more robust ISMS, that's Information Security Management System, right? They should be auditing their processes. They should be auditing their system consistently, right? And so you cannot be able to get a professional output if your input is not professional. So I'll leave it at that. This is a highly teachable moment for not just the JAM board, but for every other organization out there that handles sensitive data. Just do what you're supposed to do. Do the right thing from the beginning. It's going to cost you a lot, but it is important to do that because you're not going to regret that. You don't just protect the
Mr. Divine, if you can
infrastructure,
hear me for want of time, I think this
digital
is how much we
infrastructure.
can take on today's edition of the show. Can you hear me, Mr. Divine?
Yes, I can hear you, Pius. I think your network is delaying. I can hear you.
Mr. Divine, can you hear me? All right, listener, I've been speaking with Mr. Divine, a cybersecurity professional with a strong software engineer background. He's also the founder of CSAP Africa. Sir, I want to say a big thank you for being a part of today's edition of the show, and thank you for, gracing our invitation. Thank you, Mr. Divine. Okay, this is the much we can take on today's edition of the program. My name is Pius Kadon. Hoping that you had an interesting time listening to our guest speak on the economic reform and how Nigerians have adjusted, or even how Nigerians are adjusting. And of course, the other part is, the technical glitch being experienced by JAM, and how, candidates and even parents are even or are coping with the whole situation. Thank you guys for being a part of the show. Join us next week, Monday, for another interesting and informative edition of the program. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.